So we're here talking about the International Fund for Israeli-Palestinian Peace, which is a proposal that the Alliance for Middle East Peace, or ALLMEP, has put forward. ALLMEP is this coalition of more than 60 non-governmental organizations that all work to build peace between Israelis and Palestinians, Arabs and Jews, on the ground in the Middle East through all kinds of projects involving the environment and medicine and education and kids playing soccer together. Basically anything that you do in your daily life, they found a way to help Israelis and Palestinians do it together so that they build strong relationships and they understand that there are human beings on the other side of the conflict, and most especially so that they become part of a constituency for peace. Because we believe that while diplomacy is important, you can get the political leaders to sign a piece of paper perhaps, but until you actually have people standing behind them when they turn around, you're not going to have a lasting, successful peace, and that's what we're working on. So this international fund is basically inspired by the International Fund for Ireland, which the world had got together and created and has spent more than $1 billion on in 20 years. And we think it's time to bring that idea to the Middle East, to have an independent international institution that can be a long-term stable force in the region to be focused on these projects while the diplomats do diplomacy. The idea is it would be an independent institution of its own, and it would be making direct grants to projects and really could take a strategic view to look at the whole landscape and try to figure out where to focus the investment, what kinds of activities, and most especially to take what is now a proven concept on the small scale. You know, you have one school of Arabs and Jews going together, or 4 schools, or you have 5 or 10 towns where they cooperate on cleaning up a stream that they share. And you do it in twice as many places. And instead of having thousands of Israelis and Palestinians doing these kind of activities, which there are at this very moment, that we should have millions, because that's the way you're really going to have an impact. So we're actually here in Washington talking about this idea with all kinds of folks. We have a day-long conference today about it. And yesterday we actually had 75 meetings in Congress and the White House and the State Department and USAID to convey this idea and try to urge the U.S. government to start to be involved in it. Later this afternoon we're going to have a private meeting of the embassies here in Washington, the Israeli embassy, the Jordanian, the Egyptian, the Palestinian, to come together, and the Moroccan embassy as well, to come together and discuss this in an intimate discussion about how they can be involved in this process as well. In Congress, people are very interested, and actually we understand that there may be legislation introduced within a matter of weeks to authorize the creation of this fund. Yesterday in these meetings, people are always we do this every year, and people are always very excited to hear that this kind of stuff is going on, because it doesn't always make the news. And so the policymakers are getting information about ground level activities that they don't always hear about. The regional governments, I think, are also very interested. They want to listen, they want to find out how they can be involved, and we're hopeful that by working with everybody, we'll be able to put together a coalition of moderate countries, and hopefully the private sector as well, to really take these projects to the masses. I think the American election certainly gave us hope that this administration would focus on these kinds of activities. From our perspective, it's right in line with President Obama's own biography, working on the grassroots level, community organizing, bringing change from the bottom up. Arguably, he has a lot to be grateful to that kind of effort for his current office. And so we're hopeful that they will look at that as a new approach. We're entering an interesting time in the Israeli-Palestinian political process, and I think there are a lot of unknowns right now. One of the things that we always say is, when times are good, you need to focus on these projects so that if you do succeed in your political negotiations, you'll have some public support to support it, so that you don't have a collapse, so that you don't have a piece of paper that gets violated, so that you actually have a long-term sustainable peace. And when times are bad, when you can't make any progress with the politicians, this is exactly the kind of thing that you should be doing so that you can be making progress and you're investing in the future, so that you're building support for peace that the politicians of tomorrow and next year can respond to and hopefully take action on.